Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome. Another installment of the weekly review. I'm doing it at a different spot because it is just gorgeous today and I really wanted to get some sun. So here we are. Got about 30 minutes before the Sunday Open, and then we are doing 5 days straight. I don't know about that actually. We might be tentative on Thursday to trade, and I'll show you why. We do have a big news week. Monday, not much, but we're going to trade Monday normally, and the reason being is we have non-farm payroll on Friday. Monday through Wednesday should be really solid, I'm assuming. We do have ADP employment, 8:15 on Wednesday. Not much on Tuesday, some little yellows. Thursday, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It might just be setting up for non-farm payroll. We'll play it by ear. But that is the day that I'm most hesitant to go in there and demand excellence. Anyway, that is our calendar for this week. It's on the newsletter too. So we left off Friday. Friday kind of pumped in the morning, an AM session, and then it's ranged for the rest of the day. We did get a really nice close on ES that I'll show you. But overall, we closed our 5th week bullish in a row. And most of these have been strong closes. So, I mean, all of them were pretty much body low to body high, except for this last one. So, super bullish. We had, if you guys have been watching the weekly reviews, we had this 1.5 projection marked out for a few weeks now. I guess two weeks now, and 2 or 3 weeks now. And, I wasn't sure a couple weeks ago when I put that there if we were going to reach up there, this year, or maybe in the fall, or maybe in the summer. It is becoming evident that we are going to reach for that sooner than later. And we do have a lot of targets to go down to after that gets reached. I mean, ES is also climbing up there. But I do expect that to get hit sooner than later. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. It will go there eventually in this bull run. But, I don't see the bull run just entirely stopping prior to reaching for this 1.5. But here is how I'm going to be looking to frame my trades this week. And I will probably be posting some trade recaps from last week today as well. We had a nice push out of this daily. It spent 2 days in there before pushing out. The retracement was really clean, bouncing off the bearish candle, holding the body inside of the FEG, yada yada. We did leave a volume imbalance here on the daily. I do expect that to get traded to rather quickly. I'm curious how Sunday is going to open in 28 minutes, because here's what I will tell you I would love to see is that we just open, and this will make more sense when we drop down, is that we just open, we go interact with that 1.5, and then we go down to here, and we push down for a bearish week. I would love it if Tuesday made the high this week, and then we began our descent. I mean, even more in detail, if I could pick a perfect scenario for the week, I would like London session on Tuesday to make the high of the week. I don't know if that's going to happen. That would give me a lot of confidence to short if that is the case. Obviously, we do have this gap on the daily, and we have 2 weekly gaps, fair value gaps to look at. So we have an abundance of targets down below. Overall, where I wouldn't mind the market settling at some point, if we're going to get a legitimate retracement, is under this, which looks like a long way away. It's really not. It's really not in terms of percentage. That is a 4.5% drop. Not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. I would like it to kind of pocket there and then push higher. I don't know if that's going to happen this week. I would expect maybe in May at some point it does that. May is historically bearish. Is every May bearish? No, but just a small piece of the pie to keep in mind. But overall, what I'm looking for early in the week is I would love it if we go up there, and then my first target is going to be that daily volume imbalance. Now, on the contrary, if we were to open Sunday, push down to here, hold this, and start working our way back up, there's going to be opportunity to long to the 1.5. That's just, I would prefer it if it went the other way. But I would not be opposed to taking trades like that, especially if it's in a kill zone. Okay? ES has a wonderful weekly gap that we can retest and kind of interact with. The reason why I loved ES's Friday price action is because while it is a little bit rangy, we'll compare ES to NQ for Friday. While it is a little bit rangy, it is clean lower highs all the way throughout the day. We made the high in the AM, which was all-time high. You know, we went up there, rejected strongly from a lower high. And then we had a minor sweep here before pushing down further. But it's still a lower high and then lower high. And it dumped perfectly into close under what was the low of the day, which was equal lows right there. Which the line didn't want to play with me there, but anyway, you get the idea. That was equal lows. Ended up going down there, sweeping that out. That gives me a little bit of confidence that there is a likelihood that we will just go for these 1.5 projections here before retracing. We'll see. Again, we're just going to see. But it's better to try and make estimates, I think. Have something that you would like to see, and then you can trade a little bit more confidently. We do have a nice 4 hour in there on the NASDAQ. But overall, I think that it is going to fizzle out this month, and we'll get some retracement. Now, we're not going to go to a bear market. I don't see that happening. But I do see some of our targets to the downside being looked at. I do see some of the sell sides being taken. You know, that is definitely a low resistance run right there. This whole thing is really a little bit of a trend line there. You know, it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be. But overall, I honestly like where we're at. It took me a little bit to come around to the fact that we are so bullish, but you know, here we are. And we're going to be capitalizing on both sides, because I don't think that the bull run is over, but we do have an abundance of targets to look at for when it does short. I liked ES's close a lot more than NQ, because if you were with me on Friday, a couple of you guys were, I took a short from up here and ended up getting stopped out here as we were looking for this lunch low. Can't really draw that very well, but anyway, you get the idea. Ended up doing a manual close for a break even there. And then we swept the previous PM high and dumped down. But we did not take all these targets, and we did not tap into the 4 hour gap that I was targeting and the 1 hour gap. So ES a little bit more directional there on Friday, as opposed to NQ, which really did range outside of, you know, New York. So the other thing to look for is this true day open from Friday, which we longed from below it, or price longed from below it. So that was clean, but I wouldn't mind going and revisiting that. So anyway, I hope this helps. What I'm going to be trading this week, and I guess I'll just go over my allocation very quickly. I have 2 Apex PAs. I have some evaluations on Alpha. I'm trying out the premium, which I think is really good value right now. I was wrong on stream. I said it was 127. It's actually 120. So really great value. They have tiered payouts, simple rules, same rules as like the Lucid Flex and then my Funded Futures Flex. I have 3 Lucid Flex fundeds, 2 of them are brand new. 1 of them has a good bit of profits in there. It is ready for a payout. Just need to do my days. And then I have a MyFunded Futures that is very, very healthy. Again, just need to do the days on there. I need 3 more days. And that will be good for 2 payouts. We'll just do days on that until we get them. And then I have a couple evals on MyFunded Futures. And I believe that is it. So that is what we're going to be trading this week. What I like to do is the days and the sessions that I'm more confident in, I will be trading the funded accounts. Basically, the more profit I have on a funded account. Now, the 2 that I have for payouts, I'm only going for 150. If I lose 150, I'm done for the day. If I make 150, I'm done for the day. I'm just trying to take a payout. And then, once the balance is down to whatever, 2, 3K, then we'll trade it normally. But I'm not going to risk my payouts when I have other accounts to trade on. So on the sessions and the trades in general, where I'm not as confident, I don't have as many confluences. Let's say if I decide to trade Thursday, I'm going to only trade the evals, and that's kind of like the system that I use. So that way, if I get it wrong, if I lose, not really the end of the world. If I get it right, then I'm still making progress and I can still continue to practice. So anyway, I hope that helps. We did have, other than the Alpha Futures Premium, there was one, the big change was Top Step lowering their payout caps, which, I've moved a little away from Top Step. Okay, and I have some Tradeify evaluations that I forgot about that are just under halfway. You got to do them in 3 days because of the 40% rule. So Tradeify is good, but they have 40% on the evals, which is more difficult than MyFunded Futures and Lucid, where you can do them in 2. Same with the new Alpha Premium, much better. You can do it in 2. So those are my top 3 right now. Apex is number 4 for me because you can have 20. I don't love that they have a consistency rule on the funded. I don't love the buffer, but they are good accounts. So, especially if you're going to copy trade. But anyway, take care, gentlemen. I hope that this was helpful. And any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the Discord. Tag me. Take care. Good luck.